So earlier last year, I was having a conversation with a fellow researcher out of a very successful software development company in San Francisco. She and I were just swapping stories, telling each other about how our different teams do research. And she asked me how the research team at MailChimp packages our research after we've gathered it, how we share it with the designers and the developers. She was really struggling to find the most effective way to share their research with the company's product team. A few months later, I was speaking to a class of systems analysis and design students at the University of Georgia, and one of the students asked me, how does the MailChimp research team get company buy-in for your research? How do you get people to listen to you? These two conversations and my own observations of my team, they made me realize something. As a community that builds products and services for people, I feel like we get how important research is. We understand the value of it. We understand how important it is to consider our audience, our customers. We realize that in order to build really successful products, we can't just build a product that fills a need, but we have to build products that people actually want to use and engage with. But while we see the importance of research, how successful are we at making sure that research is used to influence decisions in our companies? Communicating research is pretty hard. It's hard to do well. Now, I realize I'm talking to a room of designers, developers, and researchers, and some of you may be thinking, I'm not a researcher. This doesn't really apply to me. But just hang with me just for a little while. Researcher may not be in your job title or your job description, but in its most basic form, research is just learning. It's asking questions, it's observing, it's listening. It's just a fancy word for learning. And that's something that we're all responsible for, either by going out and doing research ourselves, by learning about our customers ourselves, or by collaborating with other people so that we're able to create better products and better companies. Without it, we're just guessing. It's like trying to throw darts at a dartboard while you're blindfolded. You may hit the general area of the dartboard, and maybe if you're really lucky, you might hit the center, but complete accuracy, it isn't possible. Research can be compared to removing that blindfold. It allows us to make more informed decisions, to aim our dart, if you will. We might still miss the target a few times. Accuracy still isn't promised, but that's where consistency and practice come in. We learn about our customers, we build a product or service, and then we iterate. We learn a little bit more, and then that helps us refine and develop our products. Our accuracy improves. I lead the qualitative research team at MailChimp. It's an email marketing platform, and we have a few users, about 10 million globally, and we send a little bit of email, about 900 million emails every day. And at MailChimp, all of our departments are responsible for doing some kind of research. They're talking to customers, they're reading through feedback, they're reading through the research that my team creates. But we also have a department that is solely dedicated to learning about our customers. These are qualitative researchers and data scientists who not only understand how people use our products, but how those products fit into our customers' daily lives, their businesses, their workflows. We conduct surveys. We analyze large sets of data. We look at web analytics. We interview remotely over Skype and in person. We do competitive analysis, and we run usability tests. And all this helps us understand who our customers are and build better products for them. Research gives us vision. It eliminates some of the guesswork for us. It removes that blindfold, and it helps us see what we need to do. We're getting pretty good at research. But for a company like MailChimp that has a dedicated research team, gathering information, learning about customers is only half the battle. And I think many of you probably can relate to this. What happens, though, after all that information has been gathered, after the last interview question has been asked, after the last survey result has been turned in, the last usability test participant has left for the day? What happens to all of that really valuable, insightful information? Where does it go? Research is only valuable if it's shared and if it's put into the hands and the heads of people that can influence change in companies' products, in features and design, in company direction. So, how do we do that? Well, let's go back for a minute to the two conversations that I mentioned at the beginning of my talk. In the first one, a researcher in San Francisco was curious about how to structure her research when it goes to the product team. She was most concerned about proper format. Is it a chart? Is it a report? Is it a presentation? What does it look like? In the second conversation, a student asked me how the researchers at MailChimp get company buy-in, how we get people to listen to us. Now, the way that her question was worded and the tone that she took, it led me to believe that she was asking about authority and power. How do you put yourself in a position of authority so people will do what you say? Now, I don't question the motives of either of these two women. I truly know that they want to create good experiences for their users. And I also think that their questions and their concerns often mirror the approach that many of us take toward sharing research. What does it look like, and how do I get people to listen to me? But successfully sharing user insights isn't about the search to find the golden standard of research deliverable, and it's not about the quest to assume authority. Successfully sharing research doesn't actually even start with the research. Like many other things in life, it starts with people, our colleagues. Our goal for sharing research shouldn't be about asserting power over them so that they listen to us and do what we say. But it should be about empowering them and providing the people we work with the information that they need to do good work and make good decisions. Often we're so focused on the usability and the user experience of our products that we forget about the usability of our research. Just like our products, research serves an audience that has very real needs, preferences, mental models. Is our research clear? Is it easy to navigate and understand? Does it solve a problem? Does it fulfill a need? And when someone's done reading it, do they know what they need to do with it? Do they know how to act on it? Just like it's hard, and dare I say, impossible to create a good product without knowing who your users are, it's equally impossible to do good research for your company unless you know who you work with and who it's going to. No, this actually isn't one of my colleagues at MailChimp, and you may not recognize him by face, but his name is Brian Grazier, and you probably know him by some of his work. He's produced films like Splash and The Da Vinci Code, and TV shows like Arrested Development and 24. And in 2002, he won the Best Picture Academy Award for the film A Beautiful Mind. But let's rewind just a little bit and take it back a few years. In the 80s, Grazier began his first job at Warner Brothers Studios, delivering legal documents. But he had somewhat of an unusual personal goal. He made an effort to meet one new person in film every single day. He'd call people up and he'd say, "Hi, I'm Grazier. I work for Warner Brothers Studios. This isn't official studio business and I don't want a job, but I know your work and I just want to talk to you for 5 minutes." So he started meeting people, executives, actors, writers, producers. And this ritual continued on even after he landed his first producing job at Paramount Pictures. Eventually, Grazer began meeting people outside of Hollywood. He's met with former Chilean political prisoner Veronica de Negri, US President George W. Bush, fashion designer Ralph Lauren, and boxer Sugar Ray Leonard. And in 2007, Grazer was named by Time magazine as one of the most 100 influential people in the world. And it's easy to see why. Over the years, he's amassed a network of writers, designers, producers, political figures. The thing to remember, though, is that Grazer didn't approach this goal with the purpose of trying to get something out of the people that he met. In an interview for the Wall Street Journal, he says, in order to make these meetings worthwhile, you have to enter the psyche pretty quickly of the person you're talking to kind of know what matters to them. And if you know what matters to them, then you're learning more, and you're living through their mind and process. When you know people, and when you know what's important to them, you're able to communicate with them better. And while the story of Brian Grazer is about somebody in film, this applies to all industries. When I grab lunch or coffee with a designer or developer at MailChimp, I'm investing in a relationship. I'm not meeting them to get something out of them or to manipulate them to do what I say, but I am very conscious of the fact that I'm making a connection with them. I'm learning what's important to them, what they value. I'm understanding what their process is like and what they need to be successful. So when the time comes for me to share research with them, I already have an idea of what kind of approach I'm going to take. If we want our research to be influential, we'll see greater success and faster results if we first take the time to establish connections with people. We open channels of communication, and then once those channels are open, then we can consider the information and the format that goes through them, what it looks like, and how we say it. An editorial in the British Medical Journal said that if a doctor wanted to keep up with their specialty, they would have to read about 17 scientific journal articles every single day. Can you imagine working long hours in a hospital or a doctor's office and then having to go home and read dense, dry academic articles just to keep up with what you're doing? And yet, sometimes that's how we approach the research that we share with our colleagues. We may spend weeks or months even gathering research, and then we spend days or weeks painstakingly documenting everything into a 20, 30, 40, 50-page document. And then we put it on someone's desk and we say, here, learn, you're welcome. They don't have time to dig through a bunch of research to surface up the information that matters most to them. One of the first things that we need to think about when we're sharing research is how it relates to the specific audience, the people that we're communicating with. What kind of information is helpful? What is valuable? So what do these people need to know? Marketing promotes our products and our services to potential customers. Things like brand perception and the words that people use to describe our products are important to them. Designers are working on how the products look and how people interact with them, and direct quotes coming from our customers and our users help provide them with perspective. They need to know what people are trying to do and why, so they can build better experiences, better designs. Developers and engineers, they need to know what tasks people are trying to accomplish with our products. Numbers and statistics and things that help them prioritize what to build first and why are really, really helpful and important. They're also typically curious about how we can differentiate ourselves from competitors. Executives and company leaders, they're mostly interested in things like retention and revenue and where we can go to expand into other markets, things that impact our bottom line. These are just a few examples, but I think you see where I'm going. The same information is not valuable to different people. Once we know what kind of content is important to people, what's valuable to them, we can start thinking about format and delivery. So, what are some examples of this? Immersive research, where we can bring people along to experience experience the research is often the most effective. So when conducting remote interviews in the office over Skype, a lot of times we'll pull in colleagues to sit in and listen to the interviews with us, and then we'll talk about takeaways right then and there after the interview is done. We're already doing the interviews anyway for research. It doesn't take that much more effort on our part, and it's usually much, much more effective for the people who are in the room. We've hosted usability lunches where we invite people from marketing, design, development, quality assurance, and we let them watch usability footage. Because nothing inspires us to make changes faster than when we watch somebody struggle with something that we've created. And it makes so much more sense to have them see it than read about it. We've experimented with posters as a way to provide quick snapshots of information. They can't provide a whole lot of detail, but they're good for high-level information and inspiring interest or getting people excited about learning more. And these are posters that we created for our personas several years ago, but we've started experimenting with every couple of months getting posters made that have quotes from the interviews that we've conducted and posting those around the office in high-traffic areas like the espresso machines or the entrance to the building. Every other month, we travel to a different city and do interviews in customers' offices when we have a chance. So we can see them, we can see what they do in person, and this gives us a richer understanding of who they are and what they do. And sometimes we take a filmmaker with us who records the interviews and captures shots from within the office, and then we edit that down into like a mini 10-minute documentary, and we share that with the people in our company. It puts a face with the facts, and it helps them see who they're building tools for, and it's so much more effective than words on a page. We've recently begun experimenting with the idea of customer panels, and this is different from a focus group. We're not asking them questions and talking about our product specifically. It's more like a group interview where we bring in 3 different customers, they sit down in a panel, and we ask them questions about their business, what challenges they face, what motivates them, what excites them, how they measure success, things that are important to MailChimp when we build products for people. And then we invite several teams to sit in and watch and participate. We still do write reports. We don't completely abandon the written document, but we do keep them short and narrowly focused. And we don't typically put research for different teams like design and development or design and marketing in the same document. We usually split them out into separate documents that are a bit more focused for those individual teams. Other companies are doing interesting things too. So Mozilla has created these really interesting note cards that have key customer types on them. These are a couple years old now, I think. But this was a way for them to help the rest of the company understand who the different types of users they were serving. Nick Bomast is a design researcher out of New Zealand. And when he works with clients, he doesn't like giving all of his research findings in a document or a report. He wants something that's a little bit more visual, that tells a story or demonstrates a workflow or illustrates someone's interactions with a product. If your company is sharing research in interesting ways, I want to know about it. Please tell me about it. We have so many options for how we can share our research, but we have to start by building those connections. Once we've built those connections and we've opened those channels of communications with other teams and colleagues, then we can understand what's important, what's valuable, what's meaningful. We understand how best to communicate with them, the best way to share information so it's considered and it's used. What I want to leave you with today is this: we're all learners, we're all researchers, even if your job title doesn't have the word research in it. On a daily basis, we're learning things about our customers, our companies, our industries, our competition. And this knowledge is power, but it's only truly powerful and valuable if it's shared with the people around us. And the only way we can do that is if we understand how to talk to them about it. Thank you.